Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Moon Day. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. And if not, I hope it gets better from here. I'm going to get into the channeled messages before I dive into the rest of the live. So let's see what we have. For the channeled songs, I got two. I got some I haven't heard in a long time. So we have Jaded by Aerosmith and How You Remind Me by Nickelback. Signs and synchronicities are 444-555-3131, 222-611, and 1818. And then there's also some left shoulder pain going on here, specifically in the shoulder blade. So that was also relevant. Hi, hello. Let's get into our dice here today and see what this is going to be about. What astrological house is this going to be in? We have 4 for the house of home and family. So it's kind of like childhood and things of this nature. Hi, welcome in. And let's see, the zodiac sign that this is in 3 for Gemini. Gemini in the realm of house. Interesting. Let's grab some runes here for a little bit more detail. Hello, everyone. Hi. The house of home and family in Gemini. What an interesting combination. Tell me more. We have Sawolio for success and Urus for strength. Success and strength. Interesting. And some charms for just a little bit more detail. Then I'll get into cards. The house of home and family in Gemini with success and strength. Oh, that one flew off the table, but it was the ancestor's charm. The ancestor's charm is here, as well as, that's funny, we have the hand here. So like the hand of God could be relevant. It could also be like the divine as well. So we have 2 signs here that I attribute to the divine, because this is like the divine handing you something, like giving you something. We have the owl here for wisdom as well. The owl for wisdom. And the little white cat. Some of you here could like cats. Cats also represent independence. And I like this one. I personally like this one because it's kind of like dealing with an a-hole person, but it's like you're kind of showing them your butt. Like how cats are. I think that's really funny. We also have, I believe this is the rose quartz. So some healing, some self-love being needed. And of course, the tank aggro charm could be attracting people, hostility from other people at this time. So that's interesting. It's kind of like showing your butt to your haters. That's kind of cute. So success and strength in the realm of home and family. Oh yeah, it's the holidays. So we could have some family members who are being kind of difficult. Okay. All right. So I'm looking at my tarot decks and I'm thinking Mythos wants to speak first today. She wants to be heard today. So let's jump right on in and see what's going on with the collective today in the realm of home and family. Success and strength. The ancestors, the divine giving you something. Wisdom and self-love to be able to tell haters to shove off. Kind of getting that vibe here. Especially with the songs, How You Remind Me and Jaded. I was wondering about that because I was like, don't tell me this is going to be another one of those readings where someone like is one of those readings where someone's having a rough time in the love department, so they're taking it out on other people. But the numbers I was getting was more like kind of transforming those thoughts. But there's that left shoulder pain, right? And that often represents like holding on to past hurts, difficulty, expressing feminine energy, carrying burdens, love and self-love blockages. Yeah, we have the 5 of Pentacles and the 6 of Pentacles here, one after the other. That's crazy. Welcome back, beautiful. Nice to see you again. Okay, so we have the realm of, well, we're in a not so good energy right now. We're in a not so great energy right now, again, with that left shoulder pain. So that feeling of blockages, and holding on to past hurts. And we have the 6 of Pentacles here as well. So it's like the 5 of Pentacles is before the 6 of Pentacles. So it's like we're transitioning from this, transitioning from the 5 to the 6, feeling like we're ostracized into more of a balanced give and take energy. Tell me more. What's happening here, Spirit? I'm not a medical practitioner, so I cannot tell you whether you are pregnant or not. That's not something I do here. The Star. Yes, healing. We're moving from, see, this energy here. This is literally the goddess of suffering. Penia, the goddess of suffering, the goddess of the bullied and things of this nature. We have that healing energy coming in here. Hello, hi. This healing energy here with Nyx, transitioning from this energy of hiding away into more of a stepping forward energy. I like this. I like that. So we have that transition, that change. Interesting. Tell me more. Yeah, because I said the ancestors were coming in and they were giving that healing energy, that healing wisdom, and a little bit of self-love, success, and strength. Because we got some aggro here, which is during the holidays. Sometimes we have those really bitter people in our lives who kind of like to remind us of all the things. Thank you so much. We have the moon. Hello. Hi, Luna. That's funny because we just got the moon. So Selene here. Or Celine, but we have the moon here. So it's cool to see Nyx, the goddess of the night, into Celine, the goddess of the moon. So we're in that transitionary period. Things aren't necessarily super clear yet. We're in that middle part. That the moonlight exposing what's hidden in the dark. Interesting. Yeah, it's cute that the moon came to welcome you. Yes. The 4 of Swords with Hypnos, the god of sleep. Right? Thank you so much. Yes, I love my nails. I love my nail tech. So, the 4 of Swords with Hypnos, the god of sleep, just did a whole backflip and a cartwheel. So we're taking a moment. This means we're pausing. The 4 of Swords. Swords represents thoughts and words inside the tarot. So it's like pausing, going over things, mulling over things in our head, but not like in a painful way, right? It's more of a kind of looking at our life and a little bit more meditative energy. So thinking about things, pausing, reflecting. We do have the Queen of Swords here in the reverse with Cersei. And the Queen of Swords is often a very honest person. They're often someone who tells you the truth, but they aren't the one who eviscerates your will to live while they do it. They can be honest without being rude, The Queen of Swords is they're being honest while being rude. They're very hypercritical. So we might be having our feminine energy, our own internal feminine energy might be extremely hypercritical. That's kind of what that's giving right now. That's why we're pausing. Goodness gracious. Yeah, and there's the Strength card. There's the Strength card right there. Hello, Anastasia. We have the Strength card coming up here, so that may be something that we're currently handling. Yeah, the Queen of Swords might be repeating some old hurts, or it could be this Queen of Swords could also be a mother figure, an older auntie figure, an older feminine energy. Could also be an Aquarius, someone who reminds you of the past, this past version of yourself. They could remind you of those things. Because again, I got Jaded and How You Remind Me as the 2 channeled songs here, as well as the pain of holding on to past hurts. So it could be somebody in your life, if not yourself specifically, that's reminding you of these old cycles, which are painful reminders. painful reminders, and we're just kind of mulling things over and healing that at this time. Let's see. Tell me more, Spirit. What else is the collective up to at this moment? What else are they up to? And sometimes the holidays really brings out the worst in people, you know? Yeah. So like the Queen of Swords can be more in her masculine energy. She's still very much feminine, but she's also very logical brained. Six of Wands. Yeah, it's like our past. That makes sense. I got 1818, which is a number that talks about achievement, success, and striving forward. And it's funny because we got the runes for success and strength, right? I'm going to just make sure you guys can see it. The runes for success and strength right here that I pulled before I ever got the cards. That's funny. So it's like not acknowledging. Yeah, there's someone here who's not acknowledging the success you've put in over this strength, that you've been carrying all this weight on your shoulders, and you've made some progress, you've made some achievements. But there's somebody here, whether it's yourself or somebody else close to you, that is not acknowledging your progress. Hello, Brittany. Hello, R. Yep, and it's got us in our head about it. Yep, that's usually what that happens. What? That's usually what happens when people do this. When there are people in our lives, whether this is your inner bully or it's somebody else, again, mother figure, auntie, not necessarily relevant, right? It's usually an older energy, wiser, more experienced, those types of things. If it's not you, it's somebody else who is not acknowledging your successes and how much like you've actually put the effort in, and it puts us in our head. This is the god of nightmares, Phobos, the god of nightmares, right? Hello. I love to see that blue butterfly. It's one of the symbols of a deity I work with, so I love to see it. But yes, we are in our head about it. It's kind of getting us second guessing and doubting our own strength, our own accomplishments. And yeah, yep, I told you, there's that aggro. So this Queen of Swords could be a whole other person. But there's that aggro, and Spirit's message here. I love this charm so much. It reminds me of my cat that's no longer with me, but like, look, that's kind of what Spirit is saying. That's what we do to people who are mean to us. We show them, we do what cats do. Tell them where they should be. I see this sideways here, this horizontal card. And when I see the horizontal card, hello, hi, thank you. When I see the sideways card in tarot, that always tells me that this energy goes either or, right? Always either or. The Eight of Cups with Charon. Charon is the one who drives the boat in the river Styx. He's the one who ferries the passengers along the river of death to their specific destination. So we're currently in this transitionary period of leaving behind the past hurts, right? The Eight of Cups upright is leaving it behind. The Eight of Cups reversed is not doing that. It's refusing to leave it behind. We're clinging, right? So seeing that tells me that that's our current energy, which it said before. We're having a pause. We're doing some healing around that confusion at this time because we're still not sure which way to go. Still not sure which way to go. That's all right. And sometimes we will be sure which way to go. We'll be inspired to make changes. We'll be on our way. And then someone will come along and kind of knock us off the... They won't knock us off the path, but they will kind of put some bumps in it, which is rude, but that's kind of the point, right? Let's see. Anything else? I see some undercurrents here. Thank you. They're that Three of Cups. Yeah, sideways. So yeah, again, another sideways. Yeah, I did that just now because it landed sideways and I picked it up and went, no, I felt like it needed to be sideways. So that's where we're at, right? The Three of Cups, this is the graces. They are charm, charisma, beauty, and grace, right? This is about celebrating with people about something versus three's a crowd, frenemies, those types of things. So that's kind of where we're at. Leaving it behind. Leaving behind. Not celebrating our successes, leaving behind those people who continue to put us in our past energies. People who like to see us here. Because a lot of times people, it's not always that people who are more successful than you like to see you suffering. It's usually the ones who are down there with you that don't want you to leave. Yeah, because that means that they don't have you there, which is silly. Why not just rise together? Silly bear. Yeah, Page of Swords in the reverse with Erebus. This, whenever I see this, it tells me of people watching in the dark, right? This is more of like a learning energy, right? Because again, swords are thoughts and words. When I see it in the reverse, though, it's often like really rude communication. It's like very defensive. Basically, whoever I'm referring to, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Very air sign energy. So Gemini, which I got earlier, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. Doesn't have to be, right? But if that's confirmation for you, that's confirmation. But there is somebody in the background that's kind of giving very hostile communication. Yeah, because they're envious. They're jealous. They're jealous. And I don't like tapping into this kind of energy. This is the literal god of jealousy and envy, by the way. I don't like tapping into this energy because nobody really wants to hear that. But whoever keeps putting you, there is someone, and I know that they're already on your mind, right? Somebody close, probably family, who is jaded and really is just kind of, I always call this bleeding all over someone. What I mean is you have an open wound. Oh, yeah. That sucks. But I call this bleeding out on someone, and why that is you have an open wound, an open trauma that you've always kept, that you're working through, that really impacted your life. And there are people, we all do this, we've all done it, right? Before we wake up and we start stepping into our healing journey, where instead of dealing with it on our own, we project at others. So for instance, say you don't have a lot of luck with online relationships. So whenever one of your friends or someone else is talking about getting in an online relationship, you're the person who would be like, oh, those don't ever work out. You know, you would be the one who would be trying to warn them with well-intentioned advice. But in reality, you wouldn't even know, right? In reality, you wouldn't know. And then that puts that initial seed of doubt about that relationship into that person. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily always for the best of reasons. It's just us rehashing our old wounds onto someone else. Yeah, it's basically us keeping ourselves in our mental prison and then bleeding out on other people. Interesting. Yeah, that mental cage. Interesting. But we do have this fast incoming spark. So yeah, you're in this current energy of not sure whether to like stay in this energy of people not really celebrating your accomplishments and kind of joining them there where we're not really paying attention to ourselves, or leaving that behind and actually being around people who do celebrate with you. And that's going to bring in, like, once we get there, we will have a swift spark come in. Swift motivation, incoming motivation, new ideas. Yeah, because I mean, think about it. If you're stuck with people who always keep you in a very bitter thought process, you don't really have time to think up fun new ideas. You don't really have time to think up new ways to go about your life because you're too busy paying attention to all the things that are going wrong. Yes. Tell me more. But I definitely got, this is the house of home and family. So this person is family or is someone that you've been around so long that they feel like family. And this incense smoke is heavy around me today, so there's some purging of negative energies going on. Yeah, going towards our reciprocal stuff, going towards reciprocal energies. Yeah, there are people out there who love paragraphs. I'm one of those people. I love people who text me novellas. If you are in this collective reading, you will hear. If it resonates with you, fabulous. If it does not, then I'm not for you today. So stay tuned. But I currently do have that energy of trying to leave behind this state of despair and suffering and going into our more back and forth reciprocal energy and some healing around past illusions. I just got here the reciprocal energy, but I also we're currently tangling with shadow side, our self-sabotage tendencies that come from past hurts. And we're trying to transform it with the death here. Interesting. And a lot of times when we start working on transforming ourselves and trying to leave the past behind, that's when people or the past itself tries to come back up and put us back in that energy. Yeah, because we're trying to transform. Look at this. We're trying to transform from someone who's constantly getting stabbed in the back and is always in this betrayal energy. I told you I had pain in my left shoulder. Pain in my left shoulder. Right there. Yep. Those past hurts. We're trying to transform into the Queen of Wands. The literal, manifestation person. The person who brings they're like, the Queen of Wands is the person who is the manifester. They're the one with all the drive, the passion. They look good. They are in their divinity, for real. Yeah, full of motivation, full of creative, they think up all the fun, creative ideas. They think up all of they have all the passion, all the drive, all the ambition, that type of thing. Instead of, being in this awful energy. Yeah, in this awful energy of always being sad. You can't create if there are tons of swords in your back. You'll be too busy worried about those. But it's cool that we have that transformation coming in here. Last one, and then I'll get into the next part. Thank you. Yep, that's sideways again. With the 10 of Wands. And again, I'm going to say it again. Horizontal always means current energy, deciding whether to stay or go, up or down. When it's upright, the 10 of Wands, it means someone who's carrying a ton of burdens. It's heavy. It's heavy. You're carrying the burdens of other people, of yourself, of responsibilities. Reversed means letting that go behind. Yes, very tired, very fatigued, constant. Especially if it's someone who's telling you all the ways that you failed in life and they're projecting on you on what success should look like. You're taking on their burdens and responsibilities too. So that's where we're currently at. We're trying to leave behind these burdens. And sometimes, how I said earlier, people who aren't really for us, right? The reversed means more like frenemies, people who don't celebrate your accomplishments. They can be burdens. They can be burdens in our lives. Yeah, they really can be. Because all they ever do is make you feel like shit. Always. You're like, dang, can't you ever just be happy for me without explaining to me how it could go wrong? Could we just be like, hooray, I did it. I did a thing. I got the promotion. I got the job. I discovered something new about myself and I actually am feeling lighter. Does it always have to segue back into something that's missing from my life? Could we not? It's kind of like the people who, if you have a birthday, instead of just being happy that you survived a whole other year, they go, oh man, you're getting older. You're going to start feeling joint pain. They're like, thanks. Thanks for that. Thanks a lot. Or if you just had a kid, man, they're great now, but wait until they hit their terrible twos. You're like, can I just be happy? Oh my gosh. Get some sleep, R. Yeah, it's kind of like those people who are always like this. They always put a negative spin on all the good things. It's like, yeah, this is great now, but wait until later. Like, okay, man, it must be exhausting living like you, man, because like can't ever just be happy for 5 minutes. That's usually people who aren't happy that you're happy, because that means that they're not happy, right? So they try to like cut you down a little bit. All right, so we have our what's going on currently. We're like trying to get out of this life sucks kind of mentality, and we're wanting to leave behind the people who don't really celebrate us, and laying down our current burdens, because we want to go more into the equal relationships with people. We want our chosen family that actually really likes us. Interesting. 444 showed up again. Yep, 444. 444. There she is. That's foundation, security, and stability. We're wanting our life to be a bit more stable. Where we pour our life, love, and energy into, we want to receive the same amount of effort. Right? So, I already knocked on this. So, why do they need to hear this at this time, Spirit? Because they're aware. They're aware that they're in their head over this. They're aware that they're being a little hypercritical. They're aware. They're aware that people are saying stuff that's putting them in their head and making them doubt leaving. Maybe they should stay. So why do they need to hear this at this time? 2 cups. Because you are heading towards more reciprocal relationships and partnerships, right? This is not just love. This is also family, because this was in the house of home and family. So we're heading towards more reciprocal energies in our life, right? Our chosen family. Our chosen family, our chosen friends, people who actually give a damn and aren't just here to cut us while we're down. Tell me more. Why else do they need to hear this at this time? Sideways. Guarded. We're a bit guarded. The reason why is because sometimes we're inspired and sometimes we're comparing. So maybe we have a bit of an issue, and not necessarily like it's a bad thing. This happens to everyone, where the reason we may feel like, you know, these times where we're not really celebrating our successes is because we're in comparison syndrome, comparing ourselves to someone else. This could also be what these people do. They compare you. Could be like the parental figure who compares you to other siblings. Yeah, it's like one moment we're really inspired by someone, and then that kind of leads us into comparison. A little bit of both at the same time. So we're a little guarded towards new connections, towards the possibility of going towards new chosen family, new friends, because we're like, oh, but what if it's more of the same? What if it's more of the comparing and more of the who has the newest phone, who got in the relationship first, who got married first, you know, that kind of race that some friends do. Why else do they need to hear this at this time, Spirit? Thank you so much for the gifts. Oh my goodness. This is a collective reading, not a personal reading. I don't like to put people's personal business just out for everyone to see. So if you do want a personal reading, I offer that, the link in my bio. Yes. We also have the Ace of Wands in reverse too. So yeah, because we're in this back and forth on whether or not we're inspired to find new connections or whether we are dealing with comparison, it's kind of got us a little unmotivated. A little unmotivated to go try to seek out those better connections. Yeah, do I just stay with the comfort knowing that I know how to handle that situation, or do I leave? Do I leave it behind and go find new? What else? It has, yeah, you are right. The past, like last week too, I just had this big energy of people in our lives just kind of making things harder, and it's stayed. We have the Eight of Pentacles here. So we are working pretty hard on this. We're working pretty hard on this little transitionary period. We're trying really hard to figure out which way to go. Yeah, it's like we're sick and tired of being in this energy. It's like, why am I around people who make me feel like this? Where I have to like shirk away and hide myself and wear the scars of my past. But instead of wearing it with pride of I overcame this, it's wearing them with shame. You know what I mean? Much different story. There's wearing it with pride, I overcame, and wearing it with shame, this happened to me. We're trying to get out of that so that we can move forward. So we're working really hard on this. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right, R. Relationships should be you show up as your whole complete self, and the other person also shows up as their whole complete self. And that's not just romantic, that's in all forms. The Wheel of Fortune. We're working hard on it because we're feeling unlucky. Like things aren't working out for us. Right? We're feeling rather unlucky here. Yeah, you need to hear this now because you're guarded. Not motivated because we're worried about comparison. Will it just be another comparison? But I want to make changes because I feel unlucky. But I don't want to be lied to and have more burdens. Yeah, I don't want the new people to be a bunch of liars who give me more burdens. I don't want that. Well, no, you woke up. You're working on yourself, so you actually have discernment now. You're actually already aware of what the burdens look like, so you'd be able to spot it faster. Spot it faster, leave sooner. Knight of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, we don't want to go into our burdens because then that means that we aren't really working towards our goals. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck, but he's the one who always succeeds because he plugs in and does the work every day. Every day. Diligence is the name of this card. Very diligent. And the Ten of Pentacles is the legacy, the chosen family, the people that really love you. Like it's family, legacy, what abundance is to you. But we can't get there if we're carrying all these sticks. You see, they're carrying all these sticks, not a pentacle to be seen. Oh, what was that, R? I didn't see the whole thing. I'm glad she liked it, though. I have fun doing her readings. I mean, I have fun doing everybody's readings, but like hers, she and I are of the same coin. She and I are of the same coin, so it's fun to do hers. Thank you, R. But yes, we feel that way because we don't want to be lied to. We don't want to repeat the cycle and then end up carrying burdens and not going towards our goals. It's like, what's the point? What's the point of showing up and doing all this work if I am just with people who suck? Yeah, if I'm with people who spread a bunch of nonsense, who are argumentative, who spread lies about me, who do gossip, who... Oh, yeah. Oh, you've been through it, haven't you? Good grief. This makes me sad. Thank you, R. Yeah, they're not... But we're guarded against this, but at the same time, we're not satisfied. There's that sideways again. Thank you, R. Really, you're gonna make me cry. This sideways energy, this current energy. We want the change. We want the new partnerships, the new friendships, the chosen family. We're afraid of it coming back to bite us in the ass if we go find the new. Because once you cut the bridge, once you burn the bridge, it's kind of hard to repair the bridge. So we're like, ooh, but what if it's more of the same, just with a new face? But we want to change it. But at the same time, it's like we're still, yeah, there's that hand again. That hand offering that little cup. His little hand. His little cup. Trying his best. I have something for you. I have something for you, friend. But we're a bit, it's like we're unsatisfied with our life, right? We want it to change. We're looking at our current cups and they suck. They are awful cups. They're ugly. They're hideous, at least on the inside. They are full of poison. And Spirit's like, here's a new cup, but we're too busy looking at this. And on the flip side, right, that would be leaving that behind. That would be leaving behind this dissatisfaction. Yeah, traumatized. Thank you guys for being here. I love when you guys are here and you're so positive and like interacting here. I'm trying to pay attention to the comments, but I don't want to get distracted. Yeah, we're in that portion. We're trying to like figure out how to leave it behind, how to leave behind this boredom and this dissatisfaction. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I hope that you feel better, R. My goodness. This is not a personal reading. I'm not answering personal questions on here. What's your business should remain your business, at least in my opinion. If you want a personal reading, I do offer those at the link in my bio. You can check that out and see if I vibe with you. But I just don't like your business being all over the internet. The Three of Swords in reverse. Yeah, leaving behind all this internalized pain, all this heartbreak, all these ouchies. Gosh, I don't know. I have this, it's so sad. I feel sad. It feels heavy. Like, I feel like you just need a big hug from a marshmallow. I don't even know what that would look like, but aw. There are people out there. It really sucks because there are billions of people in this world, and a lot of the times we get screwed over by such a small amount, and we think that everyone's that way, and it's not true. But it's hard for me to convince you. Seeing is usually believing, right? At least until you wake up and start listening to your intuition. Yeah, oftentimes the only way you can tell if someone's for you is to meet them first. Yep. And like a lot of times when people do bring these things up and they do criticize you, we take it personally as though it's a reflection of our self-worth. When in reality, when people are like this, when they're criticizing you, they're speaking about themselves. And it doesn't really have anything to do with you. More often than not, they're in comparison syndrome and they see something about you that they wish they had themselves. So in order to feel better about the hurt, the shame, the guilt in their heart, they squash your light. It's a very subconscious thing. A lot of humans do it. We all do it at some point in our lives. Not that it's excusable, it sucks. But, like, I just want you to know that whoever's out here making you feel like shit, making you feel like this, right? You are not this. Okay? Just because someone has an opinion about who you are as a person doesn't mean it's true. Okay? I know that you already know that you are not worthy of that kind of feeling and you're working towards it, but let me be the person who kind of helps put you back towards yourself, back towards that self-love, right? You're this person. Okay? Always. You're always this person. And you are deserving of love, respect, and all of those things. Okay? You're deserving, if you're someone who writes 13 paragraphs about your day, you deserve someone who sees it, reads the whole thing, and sends you their own paragraph. If you're someone who sends 13 texts in a row about the same thing, you deserve someone who is fine with that. You know? Let's see. Yeah, the Lovers reversed in the Knight of Cups. Leaving behind the self-sabotage of the internalized pain and heading towards romanticizing your own life and heading forward with your own little cup. Heading forward with your own little cup, traveling with your own cup to find others who are walking with their cup. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. I like to think a lot of us are just little knight of cups, all roaming around the world with a little cup. Like, is there anybody out there who also has a cup? Thank you, Man Ray. We're all just looking for another Knight of Cups. Will you be my friend? Will you be my family? Will you be my lover? That's a cute little visual in my head. 2026 is the year of Capricorn. Yes. You don't need the cards for that. 4 Swords. Pause. Yeah, in order to leave this behind, we need that pausing. We need that rest. A little bit of rest. A little bit of rest for that transformation. To bring forth that transformation, because earlier I said, we're trying to transform from the person who's always who's always lamenting over the wounds in their back into the Queen of Wands, right? Psyche. In order to bring forth that, we need to be resting, pausing, thinking things over. Yeah, calling back your energy. So instead of humoring people who make you feel like shit, calling back. You don't need to tell them your business. You don't need to be so forthcoming. Pull your energy back. Oftentimes you'll find out it's kind of like the people who always give one-word answers. If you stop texting them first, you'll learn very quickly if they actually gave a shit. 100%. You'll learn pretty quickly. And I know that we're all like, we're adults, we're human. We get busy, we have things, but if you're always texting first and you're always getting met with one-word responses, or if every interaction you have with that person leads to you feeling like crap and you just stop talking to them, or talking to them less, giving them less of your business, you'll find out who actually cares. And that shouldn't make you sad. Feel your feelings, of course, but what it's doing is it's giving you the opportunity to realize that it's not because you did anything wrong. It's that person isn't for you and you can just go ahead and go, right? Yeah, transforming out of this sadness, this depression era. One more, and then I'll get to the next. Yes, that happens all the time. A lot of times if you're chasing, and you're never in the energy of receiving, the more you chase things, the more they run away, because it's scary to be chased. It's scary, right? And then when you pull back, it's mind games. It's, oh, I'm not desirable anymore. Why'd you stop chasing me? And then they want to know your business. That's usually, no. It should be a back and forth. You know? There are times where you should be saying stuff to them. They should be saying stuff to you. And it's back and forth. And it's funny. Pull back a little bit. See who actually wants to be in your life. Yeah. Balance the scales. This resting, this pause is for balancing the scales and will bring you your truth. It will bring you your truth and your clarity. So we have our what? We have our why. It's weird because I pulled both the small decks. So this feeling of smallness, feeling very small. And this is also definitely within close connections because everything I have here, it's like small, tight-knit groups, house of home and family, and Gemini for communication and talking. Who else wants to speak today? You. Let's get into what you even need to do about it. As always, I can tell you what's going on. I can tell you why you need to hear, but that's a little vague. So we want to know what specifically we need to be doing about it. Instead of just ruminating quietly to ourselves in the dark, panicking. Because that's not going to help. Stressing about it is not going to help. It's just going to create more problems. Let's see. What do they need to do about it at this time, Spirit? What do they need to do about it? First and foremost, move in silence. So yeah, stop telling people your business. You can give little hints, but if it's something you're actually looking forward to, you're trying to do, it's something you're working on, like say you're, I don't know, you're starting a new exercise routine or a new dietary lifestyle change, or you're getting into something creative, stop telling people about it. Wait until you've already succeeded. Because these will be the people who criticize it and put that seed of doubt in your head, and then you'll never start. Or it'll fizzle out faster. Temperance. Balance. Yep. We need more thinking. More balancing. Balancing scales. Because we're in that sideways. We're going back and forth. I always think of this as like getting your inner demons on the same page. Just this card specifically, right? With this deck. Because it kind of looks like he's meditating and his demons are also meditating. Which I find funny. But it's like, instead of having your demons screaming in your ear, your self-sabotaging thoughts, the voices of the people from before screaming in your ear, it's like getting on par with your shadow side. So it's the you part, your rational thought, and then it's your shadow side kind of getting on par and meditating with each other. And like, well, how do I do that? Well, you're already aware of you wanting to change and not wanting to stay in this suffering state. So every time you start having those anxiety spirals of what if they're right? What if? I want you to take a moment to go, but what if they're wrong? What if it does work out? What if I can do this? You know? Oh yeah, especially if you're starting a business, never tell anybody your new business ventures. Don't do that. Wait until you've gotten like, wait until you feel called to talk about it. Like several paychecks in or whatever, like whatever you think is a good time, because people really do. They really do. They try to come in and give you well-intentioned advice, and every time they kneecap a person. And they don't always mean to do that. Some people absolutely do, but a lot of people don't. They're just trying to, it's like they have a wound around that area, so they try to stop you because it didn't work out for them, not realizing that they are actively interfering with your life path and kind of causing you to gaslight yourself. You know? But considering this is jaded, no, it's probably jaded, folks. Yeah, that's like the person who's been perpetually single, seeing that their cousin or their brother got into this loving relationship, and then they start talking smack about their person's partner, saying, it's not gonna last, it's long distance, that always ends badly. And it's like, just because you can't figure out your love life doesn't mean you need to be pooing all over mine. Pardon my French, y'all. Let's see. I doubt anyone's going to really care, but I often, like, when I channel, I often feel like I'm in my dining room talking to you guys, and my family is loud. They've always been the type who say a lot of naughty words. And I've been in the military and a chef, so that's just part of my life. I often let those slip right on out. Yeah, balance that out in order to keep these delays from happening, right? Because it feels like things are slow and stagnating. That's because we're balancing out these self-sabotaging things and our intuition. Balancing them out. That's the key to making things move forward. Is yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that, right? Because I'm probably older than a lot of y'all in here. So for real. But I am an older sister. I am the eldest daughter. So I'm definitely the person that's going to probably say cuss words at you. Let's see. Anything else that they need to do at this time? Like, I'm just getting huge, like, I still love this. Huge, like, tell them that. Tell them to mind their business. You're 39? Oh, man. Well, I'm close. I'm close. We're close. I'm not going to give you my exact age, though. But I'm up there. Oh, good. Yeah, a lot of times I'm like, oof, I really need to watch my words, but like, how? My truest expression curses. Oh my gosh, 54. A fine wine sits among us. Yeah, that 3 of Cups in reversed and the 5 of Wands in reversed. I'm always surprised when I see people who are older than me here, because I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you listening to me? I'm a runt. I'm a runt. 5 of Wands. Conflict. Yeah. Balancing out our inner conflict. And this part, 3 of Cups reversed. I doubt they want you to not celebrate yourself. So can you clarify this for me, Spirit? Clarify the 3 of Cups in reverse for me. Death in sideways. Transformation. Transforming. Oh, okay. Yeah, transforming this, not celebrating. Because normally this talks about celebrating with friends and family, right? But in the reversed, it's like not celebrating. So yeah, balancing that out in order to bring about this transformative change. Balancing our inner demons to bring more of that energy in. Not the not celebrating, but to bring further growth away from this not celebrating energy. What do you need help with, Megan? I'm doing a collective. If I can help you within the confines of a collective reading, I'm glad to do so. What else do we need to do at this time? The 10 of Cups, balancing the head and the heart. Yes, balancing the head and heart. Okay, so that's what they mean. We're balancing that inner conflict between the head and heart. So how do they do that, though, Spirit? You keep giving me riddles. How do they do that? Give me an example. Balancing the head and the heart. The King of Swords. Oh. Okay. So the King of Swords. There's that energy again. I mean, look. This is that little person who comes in here and tells you how you remember that time you did this, or these are the ways that you aren't really, like, they kind of mock your passions in a way. But you're the King of Swords. The King of Swords, like blue, full-on expression, very intelligent, very mature, very much like, why? You don't need to be listening to them. Look how tiny they are. Why are you listening? Why are you listening? So that's basically it. When people come at you, you use your big person voice to tell them what for. You tell them where they can go and put their business. You can go tell them where to put their business. I love this charm. It's so funny. Because oftentimes they're just you're like the tank in a video game. You're attracting unwanted attention. You're attracting people. And it's because of your inner light. Right? All this yellow here, you're naturally actually very confident. You're meant to be very confident and creative. And you have this inner light. And it makes people mad. Because moths, bugs are attracted to the flame at night. And it's not always good bugs. Yep. So there will always be people who come in and try to poo all over your parade, and you got to tell them where to go put their business. Go mind your business. Stick your nose where it belongs. Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's funny. We have this Ace of Wands here with the red, and this person who looks very similar to this man who maybe donned the shirt. But it's like when they're coming in and telling you all the reasons why you shouldn't be unmotivated, even if it's yourself. Let's be real. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, and sometimes we need to go tell our own self what we need to be doing. Yeah, that's that power of that analytical mind, right? That because the King of Swords is the Queen of Swords partner, right? They are also honest. They are also fair. They are also very smart and intelligent, and are able to lead with that intelligence. Our masculine energy showing up, right? And being like, what he talked about. Yeah, every time that we're like, oh, well, maybe I am a failure, right? Because XYZ. And the King of Swords go, what are you talking about? You're 24. You're 24. Most humans live until their 70s. I got time. A lot of the successful people out there didn't reach their success until their 50s. That's interesting. You had quite the impact on her, clearly, are. But it's like our head and our heart. So whenever our heart gets a little bit fickle and it starts repeating the stories of other people, your head needs to come in and be like, what are you talking about? It's like sometimes we get so in our head and we start saying, oh, I'm just being rational. Oh, I'm just being smart. When in reality, no, we're not. We're playing things from other people and we're letting our emotions get ahead of ourselves, right? We're replaying the words of someone else and claiming it's our own logic. That's just reality. That's just the way the world works. No, it doesn't. Have you seen the entirety of the world? Have you lived in every single region of this world to know exactly how the world works? How could you know that? Are you the universe? There's infinite possibilities on this planet. There's infinite possibilities in this existence. Our five senses don't know what reality is. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, if you're the Knight of Pentacles, you show up and you do that diligent work on yourself, telling yourself every time you go into the I'm a failure loop and coming out of it saying you're not actually a failure, right? We didn't get this one job. This relationship didn't work out. But the only way to fail at living is to be dead. Well, good, R. I told you you're the Queen of Wands. I'm not making it up. I can't. I wouldn't want to make this up. Are you kidding me? My made-up stories are entirely different. And that's just because I do drawing and writing stories. But I don't want to make up tarot readings. What? People make fun of me for this. Why would I want that? Yeah. Telling your I do this. I get into negative overthink. I spiral at times. And there are times where I have to get real with myself and go, no, come on. No. No, I breathed today. I was successful at living. I did it. I made it to nighttime. I succeeded. Like every deer out there, I made it until nighttime. Therefore, I have been successful today. I didn't get eaten by a predator. I didn't stop eating. I made it. I did it. I succeeded. The rest is bonus. And I feel like humans do that. We kind of forget that we're animals on this planet and the whole point is to just survive. We add on all these extra responsibilities and stuff. And we're like, oh, well, not only do I have to make 6 figures a year, but I also have to be in a perfect relationship, be on top of my health, have amazing friends, raise perfect kids, yada, 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 whatever the success standard is at the time. It's like, no, you just have to survive the year. You have to breathe, eat, have something to drink. Like, you have to make it to the next year. Yeah. 2020. Yeah, 2020 just popped up, which adds up to 4 for more of that foundation and security. The cycles of communication and balance. Yep. Every time you do that and you plug away at it, You get out of that depressive energy. Your own brain is your cavalry. Isn't that funny? Your own intelligence is a gift. You can use it as a tool to help you balance your head and your heart. It's fine to feel your feelings. It's fine to be in your emotions, right? Because again, that pain in the left shoulder can also indicate not being easily able to go into our feminine energy. So like receiving genuine love when it shows up. Yeah. That's a funny song. I like that song. We get so in our heads. We're the type, a lot of people here are probably in their masculine energy, especially if they've been through trauma. That's usually how, especially if you are typically feminine, or you identify more in the feminine energy. We tend to end up in our masculine when we go through trauma because we end up in the overworking, burnout, go, burn the candle at both ends. And we don't really, and we chase and give. We don't necessarily ever get comfortable receiving. What helps us balance our head and our heart is when our heart gets heavy and our head becomes a weapon, right? You have to start out logicking yourself. And what I mean by that is whenever you get into the I'm going to die alone phase, you go, okay, realistically speaking, that's not possible because there are billions of people in this world and I've only dealt with a small handful of those billions. I haven't even met all the people I'm going to meet yet. Your intuition does bring that clarity. Following it will get you there. But sometimes we have to use our own head. We have to stop letting our thoughts run wild and become a weapon to ourselves. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm never going to have good friends because I'm only surrounded by bad ones. You haven't met everyone you're going to meet yet. How could you possibly know that's true? Because a couple were bad? That doesn't make sense. Like if you start out logicking your own logic, then you kind of, it's easier to come out of the emotional spiral because it's like, oh, no longer are you letting your thoughts hurt you and re-cement that internalized pain from somebody else. Because most of the times we don't feel that way because intrinsically we did something to earn it. It's more of someone told us that we were undeserving of love, so now we feel that way. And every time a relationship, a friendship goes belly up, we think it's our fault because someone told us it's our fault at one point in time. You know what I mean? So then we just kind of continue to re-stab ourselves with our own thought process. And you'll be able to do it. It's a little awkward at first because it's kind of like, it feels awkward because you're basically having to stop yourself and have a conversation with yourself. But the more you do it, the less you spiral. Yeah, the less you spiral. And when you do, you pull yourself out of it faster. Because it's like a lot of people think that you are your thoughts and you are your emotions. No, your emotions are your emotions. Your thoughts are your thoughts. You're still you at your core. And you have control over both of those things. So it's up to you to figure out how to balance them. I know I'm not making sense to some people, but that's just because you're not ready to be there yet. The ones who have done that kind of work understand what I'm talking about. And those of you who are curious, well, you'll get there. It's not something I can explain well. I can't teach it because everyone's different. All I can say is when that happens, you have to out-logic yourself. Hello. What else do they need to do at this time? But those sustained efforts that you do put in, every time you do kind of get, like, whenever you get into those moments and you kind of come in and correct that, you know, kind of meet yourself where you're at and you put that in day by day, you will find your success. You will find your success. You will find the Calvary, you will find the truth, you will find the clarity, and you will find that healing. And that happiness. And your luck will turn around. Remember how I said we're not feeling very lucky? That's because we're at battle with ourselves. We're at battle with ourselves. We're not used to receiving genuine love from people. So we've gotten used to being strong and resilient. I'm good at suffering. I'm good at taking a beating. No. Stop taking the beating. Go find new connections. You're smart. You can figure out who's actually, you know now what it looks like when you're taking the beating. That Knight of Cups in reversed. Interesting. I had some falls. Let's see. The Nine of Cups. Nine of Pentacles, excuse me. And who are you? And the Fool reversed. What? What is this, Spirit? How are you going to just be like, yeah, you have good luck, but also this? Hold on. Oh, we do have that transitionary period, though. The in-between. Because the Knight of Cups reversed is all about moodiness, not romanticizing your life. And the Nine of Pentacles is the captain of their own ship. Right? The captain of their own ship. She's quite happy being here, by the way. She owns this ship. She's driving the ship. You drive your own ship. Yeah, whenever you're moody, you're kind of letting your moody... It's like the movie Inside Out. If you've never watched it, go watch it. Inside Out and Inside Out 2, right? You let that emotion run the ship, and of course you're not going to get the beginnings. You're not letting your intuition and your wisdom drive the ship. You're letting fear and panic and all that drive the ship, and they're never going to drive it in the right direction. They're fleeing for their lives. They don't have time to think about the best route. I got you, Spirit. You threw me for a loop there. Anything else? Yeah, you drive the ship. Yeah, that's kind of funny because it's like you got all these people in the background, your little crew, and they're like all your different emotions, all the different facets of yourself. And you're the one who's supposed to be driving the ship. But we have it a bit twisted here, so we let fear drive the ship. And that's not going to take us anywhere. It'll just take us away from everything. We don't want that. No. Yeah, and if we keep going, oh, well, I deserve all this pain. I deserve this suffering. I deserve these bad crewmates. You're going to stay in the dangerous waters because you're letting that specific part of yourself drive the ship. Same here, R. I argue with myself a lot. Like I got my own parts of me, and then I've got spirit, so it's loud in here. And no, I don't have a mental disorder. At least not schizo. I don't have that. Let's see. Anything else they need to do at this time, right? Yeah, the movie Inside Out will be helpful. It'll kind of explain this concept a bit more, that you at your core is who you are. And we forget that we're the one who drives the ship, drives the bus, drives the car, whatever vehicle of choice you wish to use. We forget that we're the captain, and so we let everybody else kind of steer the ship. Yeah, and that's how you break the cycle. We're in that sideways of either repeating the cycle or completing the cycle. Yep, so that's all we need to do. We need to be balancing a bit. We want the change, so we just needed to do a bit more of the balancing part. Figuring out, I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. I am a combination of the two. I am who I am. My thoughts are my reactions to my environment. Or rather, my emotions are my reactions to an environment, and my thoughts are my responses to the environment. But they are not me. King of Wands. We had that Queen of Wands earlier, right? So this would be the masculine energy. So completing the cycle puts us in the inspirational leader. It puts us into more of our going, getting things done. Not completing the cycle would be the King of Wands. Can't really lead. They're too busy trying to prove that they're worthy of respect. Yeah. Last one. Welcome back. Last one, and then I'll go into the last part and release you all to the wilds. Since I actually showed up, I was able to get on here early today. Someone has beautiful, like short, darker hair and some gorgeous blue eyes. Wow. Absolutely gorgeous. There's that Hierophant in the sideways. Yeah, it's like the adage of it's always been this way, therefore it will always be this way. It's always been this way, therefore that's reality, versus it's always been this way, but I'm going to change it. It doesn't have to be. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm being called to get over into the Oracle deck, but first, I like to put a summarized video at the end for anyone who couldn't make it to the live. So I want to do a quick recap, and once I'm done with that, we can move on into the Oracle advice cards. They give a little bit more advice and insight into what you need to do moving forward. So just bear with me for a moment, please. Okay. This collective has been through a lot. We're currently trying to work on healing some old wounds. Yeah, we're shining a light on an armor that we wear and navigating through a rather murky path through our emotions of always feeling like shrinking into ourselves and being small and helpless. And instead of wearing our scars with pride and saying I overcame it, we wear it with shame and guilt, right? We're trying to transform this into a more reciprocal energy, that energy of moving forward in our lives and being able to give and receive in equal measure instead of just receiving, instead of just giving to the point of being empty. We're in this pause at the moment, this transitionary period, this like rest and thinking things over, mulling things over, trying to decide what we actually want out of life. And at this time, we may be, unfortunately, being subject to some rather hypercritical words of either someone else, a mother figure, a older female, someone higher up, an Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. You know your situation. It could also just be your own inner monologue, being a relentless bully that often really is going in hard and criticizing your own personal achievements and success, like basically downplaying how strong you are and how successful you are. And this puts you in your head a lot. This makes you feel like a nobody, right? You see how he's covering his face? It makes us feel like this. More of this energy, more of this hiding away, not showing ourselves, our masculine and feminine energies hiding away and being unable to be out in the light. We feel like we don't deserve the recognition, the love, or anything like that. And we're currently working through leaving behind the people who don't allow us to celebrate, who never have anything nice to say about our accomplishments, ever, at all. Should we stay? Should we go? Should we stay? Should we go? Yeah. Should we leave and find the people who actually celebrate us? Or should we stay and continue to deal with the people who never, ever, ever have anything good to say about us? We're in that energy because there are people around us who are very, very, very rude with their words. They watch everything we're doing in the dark, and then they give us criticisms, constant, passive-aggressive remarks. They never have anything nice to say, very guarded conversations, if any at all, honestly. And they're coming at you because they are stuck in an endless mental prison of jealousy and envy. Right? Jealousy and envy. Now, that's if we stay. We're just in a never-ending cycle of people watching us from the shadows and always having something to say that keeps us stuck. If we do leave, though, we have incoming motivation and spark, incoming passion, and incoming like fire in our chest. Because we'll be in a much more like we're trying to go towards more reciprocal energies, this balancing of the head and heart, this equal give and take towards people who actually give a damn. Connections around us that really celebrate us, show up for our wins, and don't turn it into their pity party or a, oh yay, you know, like they're clapping but they ain't smiling. And right now we're in a bit of a sabotaging cycle. We're in a bit of a self-sabotage energy of remembering past hurts. And we're trying to change that. That's literally what we're doing right now. We're trying to change it into the Queen of Wands, into that manifestation queen, into the person of just intense creativity, of receiving. Like the Queen of Wands is someone who is incredibly intuitive, who is incredibly creative, who's full of fire and passion, who is incredibly attractive, right? They're the Queen of Wands. They're a queen. They're the queen of motivation, right? And we're still in that, like, we're trying to figure out whether to leave those burdens behind, because the people that talk about it like that to us are giving us their burdens. They're loading their crap onto us and we're carrying it around. We're trying to leave it behind, get rid of it, right? We're in this. Do I continue to carry the burdens of other people, the words of other people, and take it into myself, or do I leave it behind? That's where we're at. Why you need to hear this at this time is simple. You are guarded towards new reciprocal energies because you are worried that it's going to be more of the same, of people that you are inspired by or they are inspired by you turning into comparison and jealousy. You're not very motivated to work towards these new connections because of this, and it makes you feel very unlucky. You don't want to have more of the same unlucky cycle of being around people who spread a lot of gossip, rumor, and lies, of going around behind your back and saying all kinds of stuff, of lying to you, of putting on a mask and pretending to be in your court when really they're not. And you end up just carrying all of their stuff on your shoulders and then not working towards your own happiness, right? We don't want that. But we're also deeply not satisfied with the way things are currently. So we're just in this back and forth of, I'm inspired to change because I'm unhappy. But I'm also like, I'm resistant to it because I don't want the new to be the same with a new face. But we are trying to leave that behind. We're trying to leave behind that old internal pain and these self-sabotaging behaviors. And we're trying to romanticize our life, to go out and carry our cup again, to try to go find new people. We are inspired to do that. This is a current little rest here in order to help you with that transformation out of this depression and this unmotivated energy, and to help you balance the scales so you can get your clarity, okay? To figure out what you're actually looking for, what you will and will not tolerate, and how you can progress forward and keep yourself from self-sabotaging while keeping yourself safe. What you need to do about it at this time. This is the time to balance your shadow self with your intuitive self, right? So getting your shadow side, which is our ego, our like all the things we've learned growing up, the part of ourselves that tries to protect ourselves by giving those old narratives. They're the ones that are basically our inner bully. They repeat all the things of the past. Well, you remember what so and so did when we put them into our lives, right? We shouldn't go near them, right? That's usually our protective mechanism. So it's like trying to balance our intuitive self and our shadow self on the same page. That will get us out of this stagnation energy and this inner conflict around these frenemies. And balancing the head and the heart. That brings the transformation. That's basically it. They're trying to help you with balancing your head and your heart, balancing the shadow, the ego, and our intuitive sides. And to do that, we have to out logic our own brain, our own thoughts. Every time we have that spiral, we need to over rationalize. And what I mean is, like I said before, whenever you get into the I deserve this treatment, or I don't need any new friends, I'm going to always be alone, people aren't really worth a damn. You go, well, I've only known this many people out of billions. So realistically speaking, I haven't met every single person that's out there, so I don't actually know if they'll be mean or not, right? It's like, it's kind of getting a bit more ruthless whenever we get into the, like, recognizing that we're in a self-sabotaging pattern, and then providing the context and providing the context of actual rational thought to help assuage our fears, you know. And by doing this, by consistently going in whenever we feel that whenever we feel unmotivated to find these new friends and family that are more in our corner, or even just whenever we feel unmotivated to pick ourselves up when we're feeling down, getting into that and kind of balancing that out. If you continue doing that and showing up for it and doing it over and over again, you will see your mood change. You will see your happiness come in, and your luck will turn around. Because right now we're still a bit too moody about things. We still let ourselves get a bit too carried away, and we have a tendency of letting those feelings steer our ship. We're supposed to be steering our ship. Letting fear, panic, and anxiety steer your ship takes you nowhere, because they're running for their life from everything. And if you run away from everything, you never get to do anything, right? And that keeps us in our cycle repeats. Some emotions will have us just stand still, and then nothing changes. Everything's the same. We continue to do the same thing. We run away from our problems, therefore we never get to experience anything, or we stay so steeped in our problems that we continue to have problems. We want to complete the cycle. We want to move on. We want to get out of that. We want to go to the next thing. We don't want to stay in the same BS for forever and ever and ever, right? We want to get into our King of Wands. We're trying to bring our masculine and feminine energies into these energies, into the same area, right? We want to be the person who's respected off the rip, and we want to also be the very creative, passionate person, right? The leader that inspires, and the person who creates their own life. That's what we want to be. We want to be this person, full of fire, full of creativity, full of passion, just full of happiness for life, very bright. People like to listen to them instead of having to chase and beg for respect. We don't want that. No, you're a king and a queen. You don't beg for respect. It's, you show up and you are just the king and the queen. You just are, right? And for the last part, we're still in this, it is what it is. This is reality. This is how it always is. Therefore, that's how it will always be, right? We're stuck here and between, well, just because it's always been that way doesn't mean things can't change. Rules are meant to be broken, no? So that's where we're currently at. What we need to do is figure out, do we want everything to stay the way it is, or do we want to break the rules a little bit? If that's how it's always been, why not change something? Okay? So that's the recap. Let's get into the advice oracle cards. I'm kind of feeling the Beast Soul deck today. It's been screaming at me, so I'm gonna grab it. But I like these advice oracle cards because they have animals on them, they have little sentences, some of them have affirmations, things you can do in order to invoke the spirit, the beast spirit, to bring a bit more into your life, right? To help kind of bring that energy into your waking life. There we go. So let's see. And I do need to remind you guys again, if there's ever like, oh, cute. I love Link, and I think Kirby's cute. I haven't really played any Kirby games. I just think Kirby's cute. Let's see. And remember, guys, the only way to fail at life is to be dead. So I don't really care what you're doing. I don't care where you're at in life. I don't care how old you are, where you think you should be. If you are alive, you are succeeding. Okay? Let's see. Let's calm their fears a bit, Spirit. Let's ease their anxieties and soothe. Help them out. Help balance their head and their heart as you have told them to do so. Let's make it a little less woo-woo and vague and help them kind of step into their purpose. Get back on the path instead of taking this long detour in a circle. So, yeah. Cleanse some of that negative energy, help them with the spiral thinking, and just guide them along the path that they wish to be on. So, Spirit, some closing advice from my collective here on their journey. Help them move forward on their path to their greatest good. Oh, the playful raccoon. Courage, problem solving, and adventure. Reveal any secrets or deceit in your life. So this is interesting. It's like being a bit more playful, having the courage to reveal those secrets and deceit. So really, yeah, paying attention and calling your energy back to see who's actually in your corner and who is not. And remember, just because you have the same bloodline doesn't really mean they're for you, okay? That stupid quote they always use. I can't remember it right now. Hold on. It's
blood is thicker than water.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water. That's not the full quote. That's not the full quote. Oh, I wish I had the full quote in my hand, but it's basically saying that chosen family, the actual quote is talking about how chosen family and chosen friends are far better than the people you came from. A lot of times. And a lot of times we let family get away with way too much nonsense because they're family. And this is coming from someone who really values family, right? I love my family, but sometimes they're on some bullshit, okay? And I'm very thankful and grateful to my family that I'm able to call them out on it. Oh, thank you. Yes, the full quote is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, right? Basically saying your chosen family is better than where you came from. Because the people that choose to have you in your life generally value your presence more. And that's not to say all family members are bad. You're all smarter than that, okay? Kind koala, mindfulness, relaxation, self-care. Remove your tension and let your be free. I don't know why there's a typo there, but I'm going with your mind. Let your mind be free, right? There needs to be a bit more self-care in your life, a bit more relaxation and mindfulness, that pause. Remove your tension. Told you I had that shoulder pain. You need a massage. You need to get one of those, some way to get that knot out. There's a bad knot. There's some kind of pain back here in the shoulder blade in the left shoulder. That has everything to do with not being enough in our feminine energy, not loving on yourself enough. You need to get used to not feeling guilty for taking care of yourself. Okay? More self-care. Remove your energy. Like, stop giving to people that don't give a shit about you and put it into yourself. Nimble bat. Perception, change, and flexibility. You need to have the courage to face the darkness within you. Yeah. And sometimes we have to look at our shadow side as well. In order to get your shadow side on the same side as you, you have to pay attention to it. Sometimes we have to acknowledge those shadow sides of ourselves in order to even get on the same page. And sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes we really come to terms with the fact that we may actually be very jealous on the inside because we have a wound there. And then we have to figure out how to talk with our inner self and figure out where that wound even came from in order to even heal it. And once you do, your shadow side and yourself are able to get on the same page and actually work towards a better life. It's easier for you to work through your thought process, your emotions, and your triggers when you know what the hell they are. Any other advice for my collective at this time? And again, I said it earlier before, but stop telling people all your business. Not everyone's clapping because they're happy for you. They're clapping because they have to clap. It's okay to celebrate. Like, you know who to actually trust, but know who to actually trust. You know, share your business with spirit. Be excited with spirit. Be excited with the people you know deep down in your soul that you can trust. Those are the people you celebrate with. You don't need to tell everyone, because those are the people who are probably, basically, if you tell someone something if you tell someone that you're really excited about something, and they shit all over it, that person's not really for you. And oftentimes they're actually really insecure in themselves, because whatever you're doing, whatever you're excited about, you know, triggers something within them, and they feel the need to squash your light. Thank you. Benevolent elephant, gentleness, temperance, and goodwill. Pillar of patience and kindness, bless my heart with your gentle nature. So this is something you can say to yourself, right? In order to bring the gentleness, temperance, and goodwill to your own life, in order to be kinder with yourself. Gentle whale, introspection, depth, transcendence. You need to calm down and awaken the cosmic consciousness within you. Yeah. So more of that whenever you get into those spiral moments, that negative self-talk, that negative thinking, that's when you need to really meet yourself where you're at and guide yourself out of that panic, fear, and anxiety, because a lot of times we tend to cause more damage by doing things out of those modes. Because as I've said many times, anxiety, fear, and panic are loud. They scream and they shout and they yell. And our intuition is very soft and quiet, like a whisper. Any other closing advice for my collective here? The unique unicorns, resilience, creativity, and uniqueness. An inborn tendency for creativity, finding your creative passion. Yeah, so you're a very creative person. Oh, and I got the moth right after that. You're a very creative person. So, yeah, resilience as well, and being unique. So, yeah, getting a bit more creative and not necessarily worrying about this kind of, like, the things people say to you. Standing in your own uniqueness as well. You don't have to be like everybody else. And we got the spiritual moth for spirituality, psychic ability, and passion. Having mystical and satori experiences, allowing your magic to create in life, true self begins to emerge, right? So following your intuition instead. Following your intuition instead. Instead of listening to your fear, panic, and anxiety, listen to the voice that whispers within. And you will actually learn who your true self is. Yeah, courageous lion, fortitude, courage, self-control. You need to reclaim the hidden power within, right? So kind of just figuring out who you really are. As you balance those things, you will actually begin to hear your true voice emerge. The one that's not colored by fear or by what is the notion of reality and tradition around you. And you will start to actually learn who you really are. And then you'll find that you don't really suffer so much, because you'll start to understand that when people talk to you a certain type of way, they're talking about themselves, and you won't take it to heart as much. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that that was helpful. If you want a personal reading, I offer those at the link in my bio. If you watch this on the YouTube video, when I post it later, it'll be in the description box down below. Please feel free to check it out. I offer two things at the moment. It's a 3-card reading and a Celtic Cross or 10-card reading. The number of cards listed is the tarot cards. You also get the Spirit Oracle, the dice, runes, and charms. Those all come with it, as well as any songs, synchronicities, and things like that that I tap into before the reading. So feel free to check that out and see if I vibe with you. I plan on doing videos at some point in the future once I've figured out my schedule and figured out how exactly I wish to do that. But for now, those are the two I offer. If I do not vibe with you and this is the last I see of you, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I wish you all the love, luck, joy, happiness, abundance, peace, prosperity, and healing on your journey. And remember that life is an ever crooked path and you are never off of it, okay? If you have chosen to follow me, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for your time, your energy, for choosing me to be your reader today. I hope all the same for you. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.